Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Zulhitjarin Nasution from English Education Department. Today I'm going to present a novel under the title Life of P by Yann Martel. In Martel is a Canadian writer born in Salamanca, Spain in 1963. Life of P is his third book. This book won the main book prize in 2000 and has become an international bestseller. And this book was made into a film of the same name in 2012. Before I tell you the content of this novel, I'd like you first to watch a summary of this novel in its film person to get more comprehensive understanding. If you compare the novel and the film person, it is not much different. Only in the film person, there is a part that shows that P falls in love with a girl. But unfortunately, in this novel, I didn't find the part where P falls in love with a girl. That's the only difference in this novel. First, I'd like to introduce the characters in this novel, namely P and his family, consisting of his father, mother, and brother Rocky. Several animals, such as hyenas, orangutan, tiger, zebras, and markets on the island of the Pacific Ocean. This novel is based on true story of a 16 years old teenager named Christian Molito Petal, or commonly called Petal, whose name was created by his father, who was inspired by a very beautiful swimming pool in Paris. P lives in the city of Pondicherry, India, with his family. His father is the owner and caretaker of a Jew in the city, and his mother is a master food maker for the Jew. P spent his days learning to swim, school, and playing at the Jew. When P was walking around his house, accidentally met priest from different religions. P liked to study religion he met, and he finally decided to embrace the true religions, which made his family surprised at P. But the religious leaders asked P to choose one. So from here, P chose to become a Muslim. Once upon a time, his father planned to move his whole family to Canada. First, they are selling his entire Jew collection. His father's reason for moving was for a better life for his family because he thought that India was an uncomfortable life. On June 21st, 1977, P, with his family and some animals from the zoo, for sail to Canada on a freighter called Sun Tzu. A few days had passed. They had passed through the Philippines, and this was the last port that would take them to Canada. Unexpectedly, on July 2nd, as the ship passed the Pacific Ocean, the ship sank due to a very strong storm. Luckily, T survived, because before the storm hit, he woke up. After all, the ship was rocking, and he decided to look outside. A few moments later, the ship sank. P was still trying to save his family, but he couldn't because the ship was full of water. The crew tried to evacuate P, but only one lifeboat was lowered. In the lifeboat, there was a hyena, a zebra, and orangutan, a tiger that's called Richard Parker, and P. Slowly, one by one, the animals in the lifeboats died. The zebras and orangutan were killed by the hyena, and finally, the hyena were pried open by the tigers until P and the tiger remained. P had felt hopeless about his life because he had lost a valuable part of his life, namely his family. At first, of course, P was very scared of the big tiger, to the extent that he made a raft from the float in the lifeboat and climbed on top of it. Moving away from the lifeboat with the raft, keep the raft connected to the lifeboat. However, over time, it turned out that these two creatures of different species feel the same fate and need each other. We need friends aimed to silence of the Pacific Ocean. P, even then feeling the presence of the tiger, became his motivation to keep fighting for life. His original plan for how to eliminate the tiger from his sight once and for all, on the principle of me or him, turned into me and him. They survive from the equipment contained in the lifeboat, and then he learns to distill seawater into fresh water that can be drunk. Fishing, catch large turtles swimming on the sea surface, skinning them, and eat their meat. For more than 7 months, or 227 days, P had to coexist with the tiger, Richard Parker. The lifeboat bobbing in the middle of the blue Pacific Ocean without borders, very deep and fierce. It was during this time that P adventurous story took place with the shark beneath the surface of the sea. During the day, the air is extraordinarily hot, while at night it is extremely cold. The great storm that is still coming is crashing. Their food and drink supplies were running low, and eventually they both start to lose sight. Once upon a time, P found an island of alga in the Pacific Ocean with its carnivorous trees. On the island, some of alga feed on fish and produce fresh water, eat dead fish, and live in trees. Because P felt that this place was not safe, he finally decided to leave the place after preparing a lot of food and water. When P finally survived on the beach of a village in Mexico on February 14, 1978, Richard Parker left P without seeing him, which made P very upset. Then, some residents found P and took him to the hospital, where he was visited by two Japanese, Tomohiro Okamoto and his assistant Atsura Chiba, from the Maritime Department at the Japanese Ministry of Transport. They asked P. Patel for information about the sinking of the Simpson. P also tells a story like a story in this novel, but the two Japanese didn't believe it, especially about the story of the animals in the boat, especially with the tiger. Okamoto and Chiba also don't believe the story of P finding the Alga Island. Okamoto also makes a report of his ministry, which doesn't mention P's stories which they think are impossible to happen. This novel teaches us what it means to be patient, strong, and independent. We must not easily give up on the problem we face. No matter how small or big, keep living it. There must be a hidden purpose from the problem, and keep believing into Allah that whatever problem we face, Allah will surely open a way and help us. Thank you so much for your kind attention, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.